Hello guys, and welcome to an NGB video review. I am Ben, and I'm joined by Gary.
Hello, mate.
Hello, are we good?
I am very good.
Excellent. And I suspect part of the reason that you're very good is because you've been playing Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
I have indeed, mate. I'm doing it for a written review on the site, and obviously we're going to sort of spend time and talk about it here. It's to sort of summarise it quickly. It's fucking brilliant.
I mean, yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time, and thanks for. I can concur with that. I think I've not played anywhere near as much as you have. You've sunk quite a bit of time into it over the past few days, and yeah, I'm really impressed with it from what I've seen. But so this is set after Uncharted 4, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Set sort of between 6 and 12 months after Uncharted 4.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think there was a few moments in the game where I was, a couple of lines of dialogue that I thought, oh, okay, cool, but there wasn't anything. It doesn't make it overly explicit in at least the early going where I am. So
yeah.
What? Obviously, you got history with the series. You're a big fan of it, and of course, the biggest thing is that this doesn't have Mr. Drake as a playable character. It focuses on Chloe and Nadine.
Yeah.
Who are two characters that I wouldn't have really put together until, obviously, the events of Uncharted 4. And I mean, I find it really good the way that they've run the story, the way that they've gone through it all. But what's your take on how it feels with having Chloe as a protagonist and that sort of stuff?
I was a little bit worried when it got announced. I thought, well, how is it Uncharted without Nathan Drake? And I think there was a few people in that sort of situation as well. But after playing it, I actually think it's a good thing. We've seen a lot of Nathan Drake over the years. Chloe is a fan favourite. Everyone loved her from Uncharted 2. She's a great character generally. Nadine, she's got that sort of fiery side. She's got a bit of a dodgy background, so both of those sort of play off each other. And I actually think that it's a really good idea by Naughty Dog to have two different characters. There's a lot of real powerful characters in that universe. They could have gone with Chloe and Sully, but they went with Chloe and obviously Nadine. And Nadine was great in Uncharted 4. So yeah, Chloe is a great character. She's funny, she's sassy, she's very, very mean when she needs to be. And one thing that I noticed while playing was the sort of melee combat is completely different with her compared to Nathan. Because obviously she's a lot slender. Like Drake was he was a bruiser in a way with his melee combat. She sort of used a lot of sort of martial arts sort of moves, and she feels just like. I'm not going to lie here that most of the elements do feel very similar to how we sort of played Uncharted in the past, like the climbing and stuff like that. But there are elements, like I say, like the sort of melee combat that does feel different with Chloe. And I think she's a great character to sort of go and do her story from her sort of point of view. So yeah, I think it's a good decision personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that you've touched on there is how different it feels, and I don't know whether it's just because of the character design change, but it doesn't feel, like you say, it doesn't feel the same as when you're playing as Drake. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it's the same animations with just a different character skin. Yeah. Particularly, like you say, in the combat, you'll be. It doesn't feel quite as weighty, but that's as you say. Drake's obviously built very sturdily and can quite happily, take anybody down. But it doesn't feel like Chloe's weak or anything like that. But it's the teamwork that I thought in particular. When you're in a melee combat or melee situation, and Nadine will come in and sort of scream, "Oh, get off her!" at somebody, and if they've grabbed you, the way that the combat works when there's two of them, I think it actually works a little bit better in this than it did in Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's me sort of misremembering something from Uncharted 4, but it definitely feels like there's a lot more teamwork in this one.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like sort of they've modified the Uncharted 4 sort of version. Um, Obviously, sort of got to grips with it better, I suppose. And yeah, I had a few moments where it really worked well. So yeah, I think they've done a really good job. I really can't sort of fault it in that regard. So
That's cool. So, obviously, the thing that everyone's going to want to know is, are there still the big Uncharted set pieces? So, do you have, like, the church coming down, or the train sequence, or anything like that? The truth is, we can't really talk too much about it, but there are some points in it that are very, well, from the point that I'm at in the game, it does feel very Uncharted.
yeah,
I think.
there are like further on there are those sort of sections. That's all I say.
Okay.
So yeah, you won't be disappointed. Yeah.
Okay, and the other thing that I need to say, I've been playing it on a PS4 Pro. You've been playing it on a standard PS4, and I think we had this discussion just before we started recording. But oh my good lord, this game! I don't know how they've managed to do it. I honestly didn't think they could get much more impressive than Uncharted 4, but they've somehow managed it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say there are moments like just looking at the sort of scenery that my sort of jaw dropped. Just absolutely incredible looking. And to think that, yes, this is another sort of iteration in the series, but it does generally, I feel, look better than Uncharted 4, which is an incredible thing to say, really, because that game was like insanely good looking. So yeah, I don't know how they do it, but they've done it again, Naughty Dog.
Yeah, I mean, there are some moments. I mean, we've got a video coming up. It'll be early next week actually, but we've got a video where we sort of discuss, me and Matt and Johnny and Kieran. We sort of discuss a little bit about it, and the discussion comes up about how the game looks, and I think it's almost a little bit of a disservice to start it where it does, because although it looks really good, I think the game definitely looks like the opening 15 minutes or so are, like I say, whilst they look good, it definitely becomes more like it's packed with more wow moments as you go on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mentioned it in my review. The pacing is amazing, and it does keep building up as you would expect from an Uncharted game. So yeah, the further you get on with it, the sort of more sort of wow sort of happens, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the pacing there as well. I personally found that this is probably a little bit slower paced than something like Uncharted 2 or Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
It reins the pace in a little bit, but I think it has to do that given that it isn't a full length, full scale Uncharted game. It's kind of a bit of a spin-off.
Yeah. And also, like, because it's a new character, they have to sort of try and explain her sort of backstory and why she's there.
You've got to have that exposition with it as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. I think it's very much like it suits the character, and it suits what they're trying to do with Chloe and what they're trying to do with Nadine. I think from what I've seen so far, again, I've only played a couple of hours, but the antagonist is somewhat delightfully evil.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he seems very understated, but I quite like it when villains are like that. I don't necessarily, always like a big camp over the top, evil dude. But this guy is, he's kind of quite chilling in some of the stuff that he comes up with.
Asav, I think you pronounce his name.
Asav, yeah.
Whoever plays him is incredible. He's got like a sort of calming nature, but then sort of menacing with it at the same time. It's like really, really well done. And I sort of said this in my review as well. I personally think he's the best antagonist in the series to date. I just think he's done brilliantly. The writing is incredible, and his sort of voice capture performance was just immense, absolutely immense.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that is kind of an overview of Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. We do, as Gary said, we do have a written review up on the website, which will be linked in the description below. What sort of score have you decided to put on it, Gary?
I have given it the big whopping 10 out of 10.
Wow. I mean, that's coming from somebody who said that he didn't think he would ever give a 10 out of 10. That's some high praise from Gary Clark.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think they've, like we said at the start, I think a lot of people were a bit concerned when they said they were going to step away from Drake, but they've handled it right. And I think, honestly, I can see exactly why you've gone with that, because it's more Uncharted, but essentially when Uncharted is as good as it's been,
exactly.
Recently,
Yeah,
I don't think
definitely.
it's any bad thing. So yeah, that is great. So there we go. Full 10 out of 10 for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, which is out next week on the PlayStation 4. I believe it's got a physical version as well as a digital version. So go pick it up. I think it's only about 25-30 quid.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not quite full price, but it's about 10-11 hours long. So
Yeah.
I think it's easy to get your money's worth on that one. So. That'll do us. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for joining me, Gary. And
No worries.
Please do make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.